Harrowing scenes of U.S. Border Patrol agents' aggressive tactics against Haitian immigrants left anyone with some sense and even a little compassion just completely shook. And CBP's behavior, it isn't new. Taking us back and through this history of how we got here is Cristina Jiménez, the co-founder of United We Dream and MacArthur Genius, and my friend here to join us. Cristina, thank you so much for being here to break all of this down. Now, earlier today, you were telling me that until 1924, the United States had an open border policy. What happened and why did it close?
Great to be here in your show, Aisha. And I really think it's important as people are paying attention to this horrific images of how Border Patrol is treating Haitian refugees to know that this is not new. The violence and the brutality of Border Patrol agents and ICE agents has been since it was born. In fact, the system of border and immigration enforcement was modeled after slave patrols. And it was created at a time in 1924 when the country created immigration quotas for the first time, ensuring that we were blocking and limiting the entrance of immigrants, particularly immigrants of color, targeting Asian countries and other immigrants of color that were not what they considered to be pure European, and it was eugenics that was at the root of how we design our immigration policies and making decisions about who was allowed to come in and who was not allowed to come in. So when we hear the White House say, this is not who we are, it is just wrong, because we are denying the racist history of Border Patrol, the racist history of our immigration system. And unless we confront the truth of who we are and the roots of the current system that we have in place, we're just not going to be able to bring forward solutions.
This is exactly who we are and who we've always been. Illuminate this a little bit more for us, because so many people have been like, oh yeah, this looks like slave patrols, right? And we see the image of these white men on horseback literally rounding up like chattel these black people and cracking a whip at them. And I'm reminded of the Texas Rangers. And, we don't always put our history together. In fact, there's a whole movement in this country to deny history, right, and to abolish history so that we can't connect those dots. But say a little bit more about what those slave patrols looked like and that model that was built, so that we can really understand these tactics and, frankly, the people who hold these roles or who are attracted to these roles, kind of how all this came together.
It was, in fact, Aisha, Texas Rangers that were targeting Black people in the 1700s that became the first members of Border Patrol. And in fact, when you look back at the history of Border Patrol, some of its first members were also members of the KKK. And that is the case even up until today. We have not eradicated KKK members from the agency. And so even in this moment, we have members of the KKK who are part of these agency, who are actually trained and deeply believe that this is their job, that the images that we saw captured by the media on TV, on our social media, that this is exactly what they are supposed to be doing. And they understand it as their job, and they are proud about what they're doing. So these are the racist roots that have modeled Border Patrol. And even under Democratic administrations and Republican administrations, the abuses against people, immigrants and refugees perpetrated by Border Patrol and by ICE agents has been deeply reported for many years, and especially after 9/11, when in the name of fighting terrorism, our country really waged a war on immigrants and refugees, particularly those coming from Muslim countries and those who were Black and brown. Today, what we see is a system that has gone without any accountability, whose violations of human rights and civil rights have been deeply and broadly reported. And this is what the Biden administration must stop.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you brought up the fact that this is really a culture inside of Border Patrol and ICE that gets its roots from white nationalism, white supremacy. The people who are attracted to these jobs are bigots in a lot of cases, and that those people are being fostered, raised up, protected in this institution. And all of this transcends who the president is in the White House, right? Because we're talking about a nasty culture in an agency that you don't just stomp out with a speech or one policy prescription. Tell us about how Customs and Border Patrol became such a thing after 9/11, because before that, it doesn't seem to me that it was all that big.
After 9/11 is a big turning point, and Aisha, we just observed 20 years since the attacks of 9/11, where many lives were lost. But that also, I think of the fact that it also marked a day where the country made immigration and immigrants a conversation and an issue of national security, where immigrants, particularly those from Muslim backgrounds and of color, became security threats. And under the Bush administration, we see that for the first time, the creation of what we know today as the Department of Homeland Security, created in 2003 in the name of waging a war against terrorism. And this is when Immigration and Citizenship Services, which was a separate agency before, becomes part of our Department of Homeland Security, which brings together Border Patrol, FEMA, Customs Enforcement, as well as Immigration and Citizenship Services. And it is at this point where we see the budget and the resources of these agencies just growing exponentially, becoming a very strong machine, targeting people of color, immigrants of color in the country, without any accountability, to the point that I think most Americans don't know that ICE and CBP represent the largest and most well-funded law enforcement agency in the entire country. And in comparison to other countries, we have the largest border patrol and most funded border patrol operation compared to other countries. So this is where our tax-paying dollars are going without any accountability, and that even under an Obama administration grew exponentially without any accountability. And I will say, Aisha, that it's really important to not miss the fact that you also have the role of Border Patrol and ICE unions, labor unions, who are playing a role here, not only in lobbying Congress for more resources, but also in protecting all these agents that are clearly behaving in a way that it's unacceptable and who are KKK members.
I was just going to get to that. So I'm looking at the chart that we just put up that showed how the budget has ballooned, right? So we've got the largest law enforcement agency in this country that is going after immigrants. And I can only think about this chant and call to defund the police and what might that look like and mean here in this context. I see a massive HR problem for this administration, because you've got people who have these jobs that are good, quote unquote, government jobs. They've got pensions, right? A lot of them are, as you say, coming from nasty white nationalist roots, who are being egged on and now protected by their unions and never can get fired. How do you suggest that Mayorkas, who runs Department of Homeland Security, the Biden administration writ large, start to deal with the real nasty infrastructure happening here, and all these people who have these jobs that are insulated and protected right now? How do you deal with this as just a fundamental HR situation where you got to weed out the bad culture, you got to fire the bad people and figure that out? Where do we even start with this?
Aisha, I think that the way that we start tackling this in a real way is by first acknowledging the racist and white supremacist legacy of the system that we have in place today. Because if we continue to be, as a country, in denial of that, we're not going to be able to develop the kind of transformational change that we need to see. So once we acknowledge that this system is working as it should because it was designed to be the racist system that it is, then I think that we can have a conversation about the need for us to dismantle this system that has racist and white supremacist roots, and to start thinking about ways in which we can invest in the communities that we and the resources that communities need, and even thinking about how to address the refugee crisis that we have because of climate change and because of economic conditions happening across the country. Just like the movement for Black Lives has lifted up the importance to defund from police departments that are killing Black and brown people without any accountability, to invest in communities of color, on healthcare, on education. In similar ways, I think about my tax-paying dollars, Aisha, and I don't want my tax dollars to keep supporting the horrific images that we have just seen, and to actually dismantle this whole system and use our taxes to actually invest in solutions that we need. We really need a system that is humane, that is connected to the reality of the global challenges that we have, like climate change and the fact that climate change will continue to generate more refugees, but also the fact that U.S. intervention in Haiti and in other countries has led to many people having to flee their countries. So only when we acknowledge that, we can have a conversation about how do we dismantle what we have in place and create something new that could work.
We cannot know where we're going and how to get there unless we acknowledge exactly where we've been and how we're culpable. And Cristina, thank you so much for bringing all of this to light for us here on Amplified. Really appreciate you and all the context. Definitely want to have you back. Thank you.